Hello, and welcome on into the Swear Word. I'm your host, Brandon Swear, and hey, this is a podcast for the Chile community, by the Chile community, regardless of your spice tolerance. This is the place for you. Man, we have an amazing episode here tonight. We have one product on hot or not, and we also have a great discussion. A lot of times it's brought up spicy food, does it hurt your stomach? Tonight, we're going to discuss that and have some backing evidence and ways that you can fix that gut problem that you might be facing. So, up tonight, we will be diving into that. No game planned, just a fun, quick breakdown on all of this. But episode 111 starts now. What's going on, Swear Nation? So glad to have everyone here rocking and rolling, whether you're tuning in on YouTube, Spotify, Rumble, Apple Podcasts. Thank you so much for being here, making this show what it is. Continue to share this out with other like-minded Chiliheads or individuals that are just curious about the world of hot, because this is where you can find everything to do with the world of hot. And on tonight's episode, we are going to have one product on hot or not, and we're going to be diving into that one here, as well as we're going to be discussing a topic that is absolutely near and dear to a lot, and one that's often brought up. We're going to be tackling something that is, talking about the burn, really after the burn, and mostly focused around, as you're well aware, stomach issues. One of the most common things that are brought up is the uncomfortable fire that is in the belly. Oftentimes, people say that it's the acid that flares up the throat and gives you that dreaded stomach pain after you've indulged in your favorite super hots. Well, as we really get to better understand that and look into some things as far as some supporting evidence and some other research studies that have been done, we're going to understand why this is mostly a major myth, and also share some ways that you can help reset your gut and keep living that spicy life without suffering for it. So let's do this. Let's go ahead and kick it on over to Hot or Not. All right. Hey, welcome on into Hot or Not. If this is your first time checking out the podcast or first time checking out a Hot or Not, I do things a little bit different here. I don't do a 1 out of 10. I do a 1 out of 5. That's off of 5 different categories. That's heat, aroma, flavor, versatility, and burn. And we're going to be diving into all of those. You add these up, you average them out. That gives us our total swear word rating. As always, do not like to read the ingredients ahead of time. I really like to let my taste buds do that exploration. So, with that being said, have my trusty tablespoon here. So we're going to be jumping on into Barbaro Mojos. This is Matanza. They're going to be the spiciest sauce that they offer. This is the only one of the lineup that I have yet to review. So looking forward to jumping on into it and learning more about this sauce and sharing it with everyone here. So let me go ahead and do this. Let me give this bottle a good shake. And we will get this back on over here. As for all those that are keeping track, yes, it does have the perforated cellophane there. So go ahead and just drag the back of the spoon, pull that up, and the wrapper comes off. From a visual standpoint, once again, same great labeling, overall view and appeal going on here with this sauce bottle. The intricate lines, very elegant, as well as very clean. Nice overall, bright reddish orange color to the sauce. You're seeing some bits going on in the sauce. Nice medium consistency. There's some flow once it clears the neck, and nice bits in there. So looking forward to jumping into this one here. But let's go ahead and crack it on open. Oh, wow. The aroma on this is once again savory, amazing, nice overall depth coming through on this sauce, you're really able to appreciate what smells like some onions, maybe some tomato, definitely picking up some peppers, and that mojo sauce. That it is absolutely that distinguishing note that you're picking up, and I am looking forward to this. But let's go ahead and give this one a good pour. Once it, look at that, nice chunks, nice overall texture to this sauce, but with a good flow, very well balanced. Oh man, that smells amazing. You're picking up what smells like a little bit of the vinegar. You're picking up some of the onions, some of maybe what that is, like tomatoes, some peppers. What's interesting is you pick up subtle notes of the super hots, but you can tell that this isn't going to be just super hots. I may be wrong, but from the note profile, it is definitely there. It's noticeable, but it is not just blasting you in the face with just that super hot mash aroma. So, cheers. Wow. Let's talk through that one. That is amazing. Right off the bat, the overall savory nature to this, the nice smooth body. You're getting that onion, that tomato taste. You're picking up the super hots right off the bat. It's going straight for the back of the throat. It's also flogging the bottom of the tongue pretty good. A nice, top of the mouth is getting hit pretty well as well. From the onset of this, it's not quite as violent as, it possibly could have been, but it is ramping up. So one that could be deceiving if you're just starting out, you try a small amount, you think, okay, maybe I'm good. If you're not giving yourself a second to process before you end up dumping that on your plate, you're going to be in for a rude awakening. That is for sure, because it sure packs a nice heat. Now, as far as the overall use case and versatility on this, now I would say this goes great with just about anything, excluding the idea of desserts on this sauce. So, with that being said, tacos, burgers, quesadillas, enchiladas, you name it, this thing's going to be great on it. Some protein and rice dishes. Tossing this in with some, a salad as like a nice base to build out your own salad dressing is going to be absolutely a good go-to here. Now, as far as the overall burn, the heat quickly dissipates from the front of the mouth, and the burn just really parks it on the back of the throat, and maybe just a little bit in the lower portion of the throat as well. Not quite the chest, but just sitting right there, flirting with that line above the chest. So definitely a respectable heat there. If you are just starting out, definitely going to be probably too hot for you. Incorporating it into, say, a condiment to help cut the heat. Also utilizing it in foods like soups, stews, things where you can use a little bit and go a long ways. Would be great for those that are just starting out if you want to try this. Now, if you're working on your own personal best, you're pushing yourself, this is going to be a nice medium to high heat sauce, depending on where your tolerance is at. For me, I would say this is a nice medium high heat. So it'll be right there flirting on that line between the two. And absolutely flavor bomb to the max. Cannot express that enough. Barbaro Mojo absolutely knocks this out. And I love the way it is done over there. Once again, Cuban-style hot sauce. Phenomenal flavor. Let's read the ingredients. Right off the bat, first ingredient, tomatoes. Then we have habanero peppers. And then we have sweet onion, distilled vinegar, red bell peppers, mojo Creole. And then we have garlic, salt, Carolina Reaper peppers, spices, and xanthan gum. That makes perfect sense because, as I said, it did attack the mouth and the tongue pretty good and pretty fast. Makes perfect sense that it would be delivered via that habanero pepper, but the way that it just parked itself on the back of the throat and ramped up is very indicative of that Carolina Reaper in the overall lineup here. That great flavor coming from the sweet onion, obviously the Mojo Creole. You definitely cannot say that flavor is not coming from there because it is loaded in there. Phenomenal stuff, as well as you have that, just that harmonious nature of everything kind of blending together, playing well together, utilizing the differences in the smooth and the chunky textures in this is just a beautiful balance to the overall sauce. So let's read off some scores for Matanza. All right, here we go. Barbaro Mojo. This is Matanza, and heat is coming in at 3.5, aroma of 4.2, a flavor of 4.31, versatility of a 4, and a burn of 3.85 for a total swear word rating of 3.97. There we go. And another amazing hot sauce. This is from Barbaro Mojo. This is Matanza. And absolute pleasure. This is the hottest one from their lineup. Highly recommend you head on over there. Check this one out. It is a limited time sauce. So I would go ahead and head over there and grab it while you can and enjoy this one. It is an absolute masterpiece. I will have the direct links down below for it, as well as a link to the main site so you can check out the full lineup of amazing products from Barbaro Mojo. But let's do this. Let's go ahead and kick it on over to our discussion. All right. Well, we've mentioned it. We've talked about it. But now it's time to really get into it. The big myth: does spicy food cause stomach problems? Well, let's start here and really get to understand, does it cause the stomach ulcers, the acid reflux, or anything kind of permanent digestive damage? The short answer, well, no. Good source for this is according to the International Foundation of Gastrointestinal Disorders. Spicy foods do not cause ulcers. Most ulcers are caused by bacteria. How that gets in there, it's ultimately oftentimes brought on by long-term use of things like ibuprofen. So capsaicin, the compound that gives chili peppers their heat, actually stimulates mucus production in the stomach lining that helps protect it. Some studies, like the one from the American Journal of Gastroenterology, even show that capsaicin may reduce stomach acids secretion over time. So that's the fiery burn. It's not damage. It's irritation from a pre-existing condition. Just think of it as you are feeding it something that is just poking at an existing issue. So, yes, if you're dealing with things like gastritis or reflux or IBS, spicy foods can make the symptoms worsen temporarily, but it does not mean that it is the thing causing the issues, nor is it causing any kind of long-lasting harmful effect to your overall stomach. So let's go ahead and we're going to talk about how you can support your body so that this does not happen. Common causes of stomach pain after eating spicy food are, a few different ways we can kind of break this down. But the things behind the actual discomfort are things like poor gut flora. This is the microbes that are, basically falling out of balance. And spicy food can hit that really hard when it is. So, things that you can do to help correct that will help alleviate some of that issue. Some other issues, as to be expected, whether you have stomach pains or problems beforehand or not, is just simply not eating enough food and not having anything in the stomach to help soften the blow. eating spice on an empty stomach is oftentimes seen as a rookie mistake. Now, I say that, and I also point out the fact that if your body handles it better without it, that's a whole different conversation. That is where you are trying to find out what works best for you and your body. Some other areas that you might have issue is around the idea of having a low mucus production. This is often key, and your body kind of needs that mucus to help protect that stomach lining, your gut lining, and really soften the overall impact and blow. Having that production there helps actually coat the stomach, the gut, and protect anything from, causing any permanent lasting damage. As far as if you've already have some form of inflammation, inflamed tissues that are in your gut, capsaicin adds fuel to the fire, but is not the cause or the root issue behind that. Think about it pointing out and magnifying the existing issue as it is. So, improperly pairing things, so a whole bunch of fatty or acidic foods combined with the spice can cause some kind of digestion issues to some folks. Oftentimes, it's also, from my own personal experience, certain types of vessels, if you will, for receiving your capsaicin act different based on the foods that you're eating. Some forms may end up handling fatty foods better to soften the blow. I have often found that fatty foods help break up a lot of the issues that you might arise from, say, having a tincture that ends up catching you off guard and lighting you up pretty good. But that's not, once again, not to say that is the answer for everyone. Another issue here that you might be facing is inadequate hydration or just an overall electrolyte imbalance here. I mean, you have a lot of micronutrients that you need to be able to help in order to keep that gut health and that gut bacteria alive and thriving and healthy. Too much bad bacteria in your stomach and you're having these issues. So what are we going to do? Well, let's talk about how you can fix that. So here, as a chili head, there's oftentimes you'll go through stints of pushing yourself, or you'll find out that you either didn't prepare right, or maybe you went a little bit too hard, and you have this horrid stomach issues. You're having what feels like some acid reflux, all these other things. Well, here's some ways that you can help prepare your stomach and make sure that your body is more in balance. So let's talk about some of those. Adding gut-friendly foods that are probiotic rich, and some options that are going to be like that are going to be sauerkraut, kimchi, yogurt, miso, and really kind of incorporating it in that way. Some other areas that you could focus on is also, we talked about probiotic, but prebiotic. So things like garlic, onion, banana, oats. These really help out as far as adding to the beneficial gut bacteria and help building it up. Another item that you can use and work into your routine for having gut-friendly foods are going to be things like fermented hot sauces. These are often easier on the gut than, say, a hot sauce that is just absolutely, a higher volume of vinegar. Not saying that those are bad, just saying if you're looking for something to help reduce and help to build up your gut your gut for those microbes, you're going to want to lean a little bit more into some fermented hot sauces to help offset that. Next, let's talk about some buffer foods. These are going to be foods that you can help offset some of the overall effects that could arise and can arise, and also help build up that gut. So some buffer foods are things like rice, bread, dairy. Eating some of these things before eating something extremely spicy can often help soften the blow, absorb some of that capsaicin, and help offset the way that it ends up hitting your body. Another one that is great is bone broth. Now, I personally like bone broth, but that's for a different reason. And another one that we will touch on here in a second for another helpful tip as far as helping getting your gut in check. Some other options are plain oatmeal. This can be great for helping just really calm the gut and help kind of calm down post meals. If you're needing that and you're trying to find out ways to help put that fire out, that's a great avenue there. Now, some things to avoid are going to be limiting your alcohol, reducing the amount of citrus that you take in, cutting back on the excessive fried foods when you're eating a lot of, spicy food in general. Too much of any of those things, any of that in excess will immediately throw your stomach way out of whack, cause all kinds of problems, make you feel like the spicy stuff you are consuming is causing this catastrophic issue to your stomach that is actually not there. So, once again, limit your alcohol, limit the amount of citrus, and pull back on some of those fried foods to help really offset and help reset that gut. Now, mentioned this earlier, but staying hydrated. While water won't help cool down the spice of those, super hot peppers or tinctures or anything of that nature, it does help support your digestion. So adding electrolytes to recover faster after heat is going to be important. One thing that I really like to use is I like to use naturally occurring mineralized alkaline water. That is what I personally like to sip on, and definitely anytime my stomach even feels remotely out of whack, I end up grabbing a nice kombucha to help offset some of those pre and pro, and then as well as building in some, whether that be coconut yogurt or something of that nature, and drinking some of this alkaline water. So that is something to help you stay hydrated, which will also help offset not only the stomach pains that you might have, but also aid in supporting your digestion. Now, if you are doing these things, you're still having some issues, don't be afraid to slow down and really just slowly reintroduce some of the spicy food. Again, this giving yourself the time to nurse your gut health back into full effect is going to be crucial, because if you've been suffering and you're really just like you're at a loss, you don't know what to do, taking 5 to 7 day break and then slowly reintroducing mild spice and working your way up from jalapenos to habaneros and so on and so forth will really do wonders here. And this is where I would like to, I guess, more or less also mention, when you're slowly reintroducing this, if you have the capabilities, if you want to take that extra step, that extra willpower to force yourself into a nice fast, this will also help regulate, reset the gut, and get you back on track faster, in my own personal experience. This is one thing that I actually enjoy doing, is being able to do, whether that be a short fast, like anything from a 24-hour or a 3-day, or even sometimes longer, has been extremely beneficial. And even the times that I have had that stint away, I haven't seen the biggest drop off in any kind of tolerance. So doing that allows your gut to stay healthy. You're building back up your natural gut health and microbiome. So keep that in mind. Some other natural helpers that I have found through ways of research and ways of just things online that have been deemed as beneficial for helping build up that gut are, things like marshmallow root teas, adding aloe juice to help kind of coat the stomach lining. There was something also mentioned as far as slippery elm bark. Not too familiar with that one, but that kept popping up quite a bit. So looking into options like that would be extremely beneficial here. Let's talk a little bit about the overall strategy here. So before eating, you want to make sure that you have a solid base meal going on. So before you start really ingesting anything spicy, definitely as you're working your way up and you're really trying to get that healthy gut bacteria, gut bio back into check and regulate itself, you want to make sure you have a solid meal. You want to take a probiotic or a digestive enzyme, before the meal, roughly about 30 minutes prior would be great. And this is another one that I don't personally do, but it is often mentioned, which is avoiding things like coffee or citrus an hour or so beforehand. I am an avid coffee drinker. No shame and no cares there. Oftentimes I am one that will just go fasting and then use the coffee to break it and go straight into eating spicy food. But as I have said before, just because something works for me or someone else does not always mean it's going to work for you. Listen to your body and follow along with what it is telling you on how it is responding. But while you're eating spicy, food, if you're having problems, things that you can start to do would be adding full fat dairy or coconut milk, and really kind of helping that spicy meal just naturally bind to that, have that food bind to the capsaicin. Pairing your peppers with rice or avocado or yogurt sauces can also be a great way to help alleviate, kind of soothe the overall heat and really not have it play that much of effect. Afterwards, this is where a lot of people end up falling off, is the follow through on the after. You can drink things like warm tea, so things like that have ginger or chamomile. These are often mentioned as being a great alternative there. Absolutely avoid laying down after you've ate something spicy, because you kind of invoke the idea that you might have more issues than benefit from it. Also, if you are laying down or in a crouched, hunched over position after eating something that gives you cap cramps, well, good luck, because now you're going to be stuck there until those cramps are done. Because one of the hardest things to do is get back up after you've decided to put yourself in either the fetal or laying face down on tile. Oftentimes, if you can withstand it and you can keep standing, that is going to be your best action. So keep that in mind. Being able to take a magnesium supplement to help you with the overall feeling of the cramping or heartburn is going to be beneficial here as well. So as we continue to walk down this path, and maybe you're still hurting and you're wondering, what can I possibly do? Well, if you've already got the symptoms of heartburn, well, go ahead and try ginger tea, slippery elm lozenges, or some kind of a low acidic food is going to be helpful here to help you with your heartburn issues. Now, maybe you just got stomach pain. Maybe it's not really the heartburn, but you have stomach pain. So eating plain, just white rice with some boiled chicken, steamed veggies, very neutral, very boring in most cases, is going to be a good idea if you have those stomach pain issues. So if you have things like reflux, sleeping slightly elevated and not eating, at least 2 hours before bed are going to be absolutely crucial here. Reducing that time frame between your last meal and you laying down for bed is going to be the difference between you having a great night's sleep and a bad night's sleep. So keeping that slight elevation so that you don't feel that heartburn, that acidic, that reflux nature kind of kicking back up your throat is going to be, a game changer as well. I'm sure most of you that have this or have had this know that that slight elevation is an absolute must, but making sure that you have a nice window of time between your last meal and you laying down for bed is the other half. Well, we already kind of mentioned it a little bit here, but the acid flare ups, if you feel like you're having a lot of acid, kicking up just randomly, papaya enzymes are great. Papayas as a whole, I like to personally eat papaya. I'll cut it in half and get a spoon. I'll eat the seeds. I'll eat the overall papaya flesh and just leave basically the rind on the outside just for the trash. And so that's a great one. Aloe vera juice can help as well. It's been mentioned quite a few times that aloe vera juice is great for that. On my own personal, tests and trials and tribulations with this, I have never found success from aloe vera juice nor coconut water that has also been mentioned. But I will definitely say avoid the coconut water. If you're going to try one of the two, try the aloe vera juice. That seems to be a little bit more soothing. The coconut water just seems to aggravate it more. If you love the thrill, but your body isn't up for it, just remember to try. There's some tropical products, some spicy rubs or lotions, or capsaicin patches for a little tingle without the indigestion or ingesting anything in that nature. Like if you have, overall arthritis, some issues going on there, these topical patches, these topical products are great there. So being able to apply on some, stiff joints or what have you are going to be some great avenues here. And definitely for those that are trying to avoid the idea of like a steroid cream, these are great. Some other areas that will help you control the dosage more so than, say, dumping a full bottle is going to be things like tinctures. So while you can get some tinctures and make some tinctures that are extremely, out there and strong, having some that aren't quite as strong and also being able to control the dosage and how much you're putting into your drinks or on your food are a great way to be able to handle that more so than, say, committing to a full pepper. Trying to stick with things like milder sauces, while they have that great flavor profile up front, they also can have a very addicting flavor up front, which would produce you to want to eat more. So while you're doing this, make sure that you have the ability to dial back if you start to feel that there is some form of a flare up, but you're wanting to enjoy what you're eating. Looking for products that are flavor forward. Overheat is going to be crucial as you work your way back to being able to handle spicy food. So, here's some quotable truths and some closing thoughts. So, spice doesn't destroy your stomach, it reveals its current state. Another one here is capsaicin can be medicine or it can be madness. However you prep makes the difference. So making sure that you're committed, making sure that you follow along with a simple regimen to be able to get that gut health, that gut bio back into a normal, natural state is going to be crucial here. And of course, gut health is like soil to peppers. You can't grow heat in garbage, just like you can't eat the extreme heat and have absolute garbage for a stomach lining, stomach bacteria bio going on. Otherwise, you're going to pay a severe price of just agonizing pain. Once again, the capsaicin is not causing it. It is simply aggravating it. It is the child that has walked into the elevator and you are stuck on the top floor waiting to get to the bottom, and they have just hit every button on there, turned, laughed at you, and said, huh, Christmas tree. That's exactly what is happening to your gut whenever it is out of whack and you decide to dump in a whole bunch of spicy food. So, there you have it, Chiliheads. Gut health doesn't mean giving up on your passion for heat. With the right tools, a balance, and a little bit of love for your stomach lining, you can burn bright without burning out. Want to say, if you have enjoyed the conversations and the breakdowns and the advice as far as episodes like this, let me know down in the comments. And I wanted to remind everyone that may have caught the promo that rolled out for tonight. The Mikey V's episode has been moved to a later date due to just some timing issues here. And no worries there. Everything is ready to go for that episode. So I will have the direct links down below for Barbaro Mojo's Matanza, and you can pick that one up. As I have mentioned, it is a limited release. So do not sleep on this one. Head on over there, treat yourself, grab that sauce. Heck, try the whole lineup. They're all amazing. There's definitely a hot sauce from Barbaro Mojo for everyone in that lineup. And don't forget, new episodes drop every Tuesday and Thursday night. And want to give a quick shout out to everyone. Thank you so much for rocking and rolling and sharing this out with other like-minded Chiliheads or individuals that are curious about the world of hot, because this is where you can find everything to do with the world of hot. Shout out for our sponsors, podvision.io. If you're looking to grow your brand, start your brand, you've hit a bump in the road, you're trying to figure things out, highly recommend checking out podvision.io for all of those needs. As well as if you webdx.one. If you have a website, maybe it is, not a great representation of you and your business. Maybe you had a guy, you've lost contact, now you don't have anyone to keep updating your website or make those revisions. Maybe it's just you don't have one at all. Highly recommend checking out webdx.one for all of those needs. They will get you hooked up, ready to go, and they make the process very pain-free. So, I'm Brandon Swear, and from everything from the world of hot, this has been The Swear Word.